Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio.
You want to see a change in your wildlife, get out there and control your property.
Right.
Jig bite, so jig and a frozen emerald shiner.
But we're actually giving them a rifle.
Broadcasting on the Sporting Journal Radio Network, wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Fish on right now.
Well, we're here at the 2024 Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. And our guest now is Jeremy Smith. I fish, I hunt, and always will.
It's just to look out for your everyday hunter, angler, and trapper that's out there.
A Fish Hunt Forever production. This is Sporting Journal Radio.
That's right. Welcome to the show. My name is Bret Amundson, along with Dan Amundson over there. Dan, what's up?
Hey.
We are back in studio for most of this show anyway. We are going to play back an interview we did down at Great Southern Outdoors in other... I don't know, all of a sudden I start talking about Great Southern Outdoors, Dan, and that's how I start talking all of a sudden. It's been a week down in Alabama.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, you're just terrible at picking up every accent except our own.
I don't know if I'd use the word terrible.
Well, you do it. It's like you don't want to be yourself.
I don't know about that. I think that's just from having a career in the voice industry. I'm constantly trying to pick up dialects and imitate sounds. I mean, I do it with bird noises and animals.
Oh, we know.
It's real annoying for everybody but me. And now I'm doing it for all the listeners and viewers, so you're welcome. I had a great time down there, though, and Hunter Pritchett, man, just what a great host at Great Southern Outdoors. We did some hog hunting there, and we're going to play back our interview with Hunter in just a little bit. He's had some big names roll through that plantation down there, and he's going to talk about who he's had there, what they do, and how you could take a trip down south if you want to hunt hogs, if you want to hunt deer. They got some other hunting opportunities as well, too. So Hunter's coming up. Plus, we're going to try to check in with Joe Henry on the water doing some fishing right now and get a Lake of the Woods fishing report as well. And we got some more news to talk about. But first, Dan, who are the sponsors this week on the show?
The official truck sponsor of Fish Hunt Forever is Inver Grove Toyota. When looking for your new rig, head over to Inver Grove Toyota. Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world. Plan a trip this open water season at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. OnX Hunt, landowner information, public land access, and much, much more. Know where you stand with OnX. Not too early to start e-scouting for hunting season. Tasman Lake Lodge, still time to book a trip to catch a world record lake trout and giant pike at Saskatchewan's Tasman Lake. Learn more at tasmanlake.com. Prairie Sportsman, the new season is over, but you can watch episodes anytime at the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel and check your TV guide for local air times. And Haybell Heights Campground and Resort, fish Devil's Lake this summer. Learn more at haybellheights.com.
So we took that hunting trip down to Alabama and we flew with our guns. And a lot of people asked us how that went, and a couple people were shocked that we even did that. But Dan, we've done it a few times now. It's really not that hard.
No, the hardest part is wheeling the big case through the airport and putting it in a rental car.
So we flew Delta, and Delta's policy is 4 guns to a hard-sided case that you can lock. So I've got a long gun, hard-sided case, and we put 2 rifles in there. And Alabama has reciprocity with Minnesota when it comes to carry. So we actually brought our handguns with us as well, too. But you can ask, so we had 4 guns in our hard-sided case, and then you can bring 11 pounds worth of ammo. But it has to be like in the original packaging. So you can't have any bullets in any magazines. Obviously, you can't have any ammunition inside any guns. So you have to have it. You can have it in the hard-sided case with the guns, but it has to be in the packaging, original packaging. So we just bought new ammo for this trip because you can never have too much ammunition. And which we didn't end up using that much, but obviously we'll use it eventually.
Yeah, it doesn't expire, so why not? And now I bet this video doesn't get monetized on YouTube.
I didn't think of that. Well, just kidding about all of that.
Yeah, who cares? We're talking about fake bullets and fake guns on the airplane.
That's right. Well, we're just trying to tell you how to do it. And you have to declare it, so you have to go through a gate agent. You have to check your baggage, and they will, they'll have you open it. They'll have you inspect it. They will make you sign a declaration that says the guns are unloaded, and then they put that in the hard-sided case. They lock it back up. They run it through a scanning machine, and then it goes on the airplane. And then you'll end up getting it, depending on how the airport is set up, you'll end up getting it at like in the oversized baggage area or a special gate area where there's an agent that can get you the firearms.
Or the one police officer at the airport if you're in Dothan.
Yeah, we flew down to Dothan to go to Eufaula, Alabama, and when I Googled, flying there and getting tickets and all of that, the closest airport came up as Eufaula, which is a pretty small one. And I guess we could have flown into Montgomery. That was probably closer.
Yeah, I mean, it's America. We could have flown in wherever we want. It's a free country.
It's true. Very true. It's a good point, Dan.
America.
Had to rent a car, and honestly, so we had a little bit of a longer drive from Great Southern Outdoors to fly back to go to Dothan versus Montgomery would have been a shorter drive and, a bigger airport, more amenities maybe. But the small airport was kind of nice.
Yeah. Some people thought we were going to just go straight from Atlanta. So we had a layover in Atlanta, and people thought we could have just driven there. It would have been probably about the same distance of a drive, but this way we didn't have to deal with Atlanta traffic either. And yeah, the small airport was nice. You have pre-check, I don't, and so I joked like, "Oh, good, good thing you have pre-check. You're gonna make it on the airplane and not miss the line," because there was one line of security for the 40 of us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I still made it through. They still let us go through first.
Yeah. Oh, no. You got to wait on that side of the gate while I waited on this one. We both waited to get on. We got on the plane at the same time.
We did, but I still like waiting on the other side of security no matter what airport I'm in.
That's a money grab. So then they make you buy beer. If you're on the other side, you're just going to end up spending money on that side.
Make you buy beer. Make you
turn it down.
It was a fun trip either way, and normally, and I want to thank my brother and his wife, of course, for watching the dogs. And
it's your sister-in-law.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I thought you were struggling what to call my mom.
And it's Dan's mom and dad, and Wade drove us to the airport and picked us up as well. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Normally we fly out at 4 a.m. or something on a Monday, or we try to get some weird flights, or we try to get the best flight, really the most affordable flight, and a lot of times that's really early in the morning. And I know last time your dad was like not happy, I don't think, about having to get up at 3:30 and drive us to the airport, so I don't blame him. So this trip I booked a Sunday afternoon flight out of Minneapolis St. Paul, and we may go back to the early morning flights.
Yeah, I like the no line thing. The beer's still available at the early morning flights, so we don't have to worry about that. The one nice thing Sunday afternoon, we got to go to church Sunday morning. I appreciated that. So absolutely. That was nice. But lines were a lot longer.
Was busy.
And didn't help it. We were coming up on a holiday weekend, end of the school year. If it was February, it might have been a different story. I don't know.
So we took the new Toyota Tundra from Inver Grove Toyota, which we got a deal on right now. Go to this website, or actually we'll link it below look for the Tundra deal in the description below, or just go to sportingjournalradio.com and look for the Tundra deal at Inver Grove Toyota. And one of my favorite features on the new Toyota is this right here. Okay, right now I want to show you one of my favorite features on my new Toyota Tundra. So I keep my enclosed trailer under a big shelter like this, and it's kind of a tight squeeze getting in there. But the Tundra's got cameras all around it that allow you to see each side of the vehicle, plus what you're backing up to. And since I can fold the mirrors in with a touch of a button, tight squeezes are no problem. And I keep my boat in this big shed, which is kind of dark on the inside and can be kind of a narrow opening. So having all these cameras showing me the way through those doors into the darkness where my boat is at is priceless.
How'd you just hook up to your boat like that?
I know. All right, and for those listening on the radio, apologize for just a slight portion of dead air there, but
hopefully we didn't set any dead air alarms off.
Whoops. There's engineers rushing into radio stations right now.
Saturday morning.
So the Tundra, those cameras are unreal and so helpful. Even just finding places to park, tight squeezes, things like that. You can see if you're, in all the lines, and obviously it's. Some people are like, I could park it in the white lines without a camera, you idiot. I know you can, but this is just makes life quite a bit
and
easier.
You can't, so it's great for you.
Hey, I just did a survey. I snow goose hunted this spring in South Dakota, and I filled out the hunter survey afterwards. And what I thought was interesting is this year it wasn't just asking about the number of birds harvested, the number of days hunted, what county I was in, but they also asked, how effective do you think the spring snow goose, the light goose conservation order has been for you? Because now that Texas has closed their season, I have a feeling some states are going to start looking at this. And I made sure to put in the comments that, it's tough hunting, but I don't want to see the season go away because I think it's been a lot of fun. And I just love watching the spring migration from a snow goose decoy spread. But one thing I noticed about Texas closing their season, a lot of people are raising some alarm bells, but one thing you should realize that you can still hunt snow geese until early February in half the state and the end of January pretty much in the other half. So a lot of times those snow geese are already there during the regular hunting season, so people can hunt them. They just can't use extensions or e-collars. Thank you, and taking the plugs out. And then it was only open for a month after that. So a lot of times, I think by the time their spring season took place, birds were already starting to push back north.
I wonder if they were having a poaching issue. Like if people were out there trying to snow goose hunt, all the snows were gone, but the season was still open, and they are having an issue with other birds getting shot or something. Or that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that the season might be open and there aren't birds there to hunt. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that for the southern states.
I was reading some thread on it somewhere, and somebody made that comment, like bird migrations have changed. They just don't get birds there anyway, or they're not there at that time, whatever the case was. But that season may have been irrelevant for Texas, but I'll be curious to see what happens. Comment below if you want to see the spring light goose season. It's not a hunting season. It is a
conservation order.
Comment below
the science.
You want to see it continue and continue in all the states or in your state or wherever. I got a new Gammo air gun, Dan, that I'm kind of obsessed with this thing right now.
Yeah, which you bought a gun right before this pig hunting trip, and now you've got another one. Which do you like more?
Well, the AR, I won a gun at that Bluffland Whitetails banquet, and then I got a gift card, and I got an AR that I used to go hog hunting with, which I really enjoy. But this Gammo, I'll tell you what, we've been having a problem with these red squirrels. They've been chewing up your brake wires, which they've done it twice now, right, Dan?
Yeah, I even joked about it. So they keep chewing up the wires to my sensors that are throwing off my ABS system, my tire pressure monitoring system, my StabiliTrak. So right now I'm driving around without any of that. So that's cool. I already got it fixed once. They just chew the wire up. And I even joked on our way home from Alabama. I'm like, hey, how much you want to bet? Something chewed up another one of my wires. Fired it up. Sure enough.
They did.
War has been declared on the mighty red squirrel.
So I ran into Runnings and I bought a Swarm Whisper pellet gun from Gammo. It was the most expensive one they had. I was like, all bets are off here. This is the one I don't want to screw around. Comes with a scope, but you have to mount the scope. And I mounted it and it was dead on. So they must somehow pre-sight them in. And then all you have to do is attach them to the gun. And first shot, got the first red squirrel, and now I think I've got 2 or 3, and I've noticed that there's another 1 or 2 out there. So war has been declared. And it's funny, I posted it on Snapchat, Dan, and I got all these messages going, oh, I got that same gun. And now I'm just getting pictures of red squirrels from everybody.
Yeah, every single one of them needs to be eradicated.
Absolutely.
And stop chewing my truck wires, for crying out loud.
They are a pest, just like hogs down south. We do not need wild hogs in Minnesota. They've got them down south. We're going to talk about what a problem they are and how they hunt them with Hunter Pritchett from Great Southern Outdoors coming up. And we'll get a fishing report from Lake of the Woods from Joe Henry. Stay there.
852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
All right, the season is opening up at Tasman Lake Lodge in Northwest Saskatchewan, and they still have some openings. So if you want to book a trip for trophy lake trout in Northern Pike in a beautiful place up in the northwest corner of the province, go to TasmanLake.com. We have a brand new video from our time up there last year with Vic Cook, co-founder of Live Target. Look for Tasman TV either on YouTube or at TasmanLake.com. And join us this year. We'll be up there June 29th through July 13th. Find all the details at TasmanLake.com. sportingjournalradio.com. All right, we're here on Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in on the radio network, by demand, sportingjournalradio.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that we are sitting outside on a beautiful piece of property here in Alabama. Southern Alabama, you consider this Southern Alabama?
Southern.
Yeah. All right, Hunter Pritchett is our guest right now. He's the owner of Great Southern Outdoors. How you doing, Hunter?
I'm doing good, buddy. It's good to have you guys here.
Yeah, you betcha.
Appreciate y'all coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yep.
This is a really neat place here. First of all, I mean, just living in a place like this has got to be great.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, we were just talking about the weather here, how humid it is in the summertime compared to how it is up north. But when you come down here, the humid does get you, but you're in the most beautiful place in the country, I think.
Yeah, it is. You know, this is our first time to Alabama. We didn't really know what to expect. I talked to a few people before this trip, and they talked about this part of Alabama specifically, that Black Belt area, and just how beautiful it is here, and just like, especially for people like us that like the outdoors, just what a great area it really is.
Well, the Black Belt is the most famous part of Alabama and in the South, to be honest with you. Not only is the Black Belt known for its soil, but it's known for its rich hunting. And in this county that we're in, Bullitt County currently, is the #1 county in the state for whitetail population.
Oh, really?
So you can grow really good crops and you can do some really good deer hunting here. And we have an abundance of wildlife, but the Black Belt actually reaches just to the east of us in Barber County and wraps back around toward middle Mississippi. So it's a long line. It's a long line of rich, diverse habitats.
Can we just back up and say Bullitt County? I want to live in a place called Bullitt County.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're actually known not only for our abundance of wildlife, but the field trial capital of the world.
Yeah.
For any bird hunters out there.
So did you grow up bird hunting then?
We did. Yep, we did. We just actually, I just got done last year with one of our hunts, and this county here, field trials, on the foot, just your regular sportsman, everyday outdoor hunter. We have it all. Boeing Airlines with Sedgefield Plantation. I don't know if anybody knew of Sedgefield Plantation, but Boeing Airlines is actually calls Bullitt County home for the field trials. So, Boeing Airlines here in Bullitt County is a huge deal for this area.
So do you host any of those trials here?
We don't actually host the trials here because we don't do it on horseback.
Okay.
We like to get out there on foot with you and walk through the fields and the thickets and the pines and the plantation style kind of way.
So what all do you offer here then?
We offer deer hunts, hog hunts, turkey hunts, quail hunts, pheasant hunts.
All right. And pheasants, you're planting the pheasants? These are...
Well, we actually do it European style.
Oh, okay.
But some of my quail hunts, I'll throw some pheasants out there, but you don't know about it, yeah.
Can they shoot them then?
Absolutely.
Does that surprise people a little bit?
It surprises everybody that we do it in front of. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So what's the wild population of quail like around
So
here?
the wild quail population has decreased. A lot of it has to do with creating habitat for the bird and managing for the bird. A lot of guys back in the days, there was money in trapping. Now there's not much money in trapping, so not many people trap anymore.
Yeah.
But here in the state, we have a fire ant problem, and the fire ants do a lot of damage to the quail.
Oh, really?
And
interesting.
Now, back in the 80s and 60s, there wasn't much timber. There was a lot of native grasses.
Here
in the state.
There's trees everywhere here.
There's trees everywhere now, but it's pine.
Oh, yeah.
And so doing that deleted a bunch of the wildlife for the wild quail.
Interesting.
And so our populations have decreased along with just like your turkeys.
We were surprised to see all the trees. I mean, maybe we shouldn't have, but we got down here, even in Georgia, we were surprised at how forested everything is. So all these pines out here, a lot of these were planted as part of a timber industry?
So I'll take you back in time, okay?
All right.
So in 1863, my family acquired the first piece of purchase of this property. All the way up until 1923, we were doing nothing but agriculture, crop, as far as
so these are all crop
corn.
fields
This
here.
was all crop fields.
Really?
So we're sitting a mile back off the main highway, US 82 right now. And I remember growing up as a child with my father out here on the hillside by the main house. You could see the 18-wheelers and the trucks coming down the highway a mile away.
Wow.
All this was open land. And in 1952, my grandfather, who we called Big Rex, started the cattle business. He went to work for Montgomery Stockyards. And up until 1978, when my father, who they called Little Rex, who was a third, went to work for Coca-Cola, he left the farm and went to work for Coca-Cola. At that time, we had about 1,000 head of cattle on the property. And we were a cattle plantation then. We were an active cattle plantation. And in 1978, when my father went to work for Montgomery Bottling Company, there Coca-Cola, up until 1999, when he retired, this was a Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper plantation. Now, Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper did not have business ties with the plantation. This was their home, and who they chose to host their business partners, their clientele, and their employees to go deer hunting and quail hunting and turkey hunting and hog hunting. And then we were called Bug Hall Plantation because of the creek that we have on our property is the only creek that runs north in the state of Alabama, along with Chief Bug Hall, who was a Creek Indian. Okay. There's a lot of history with the Creek Indians here. And then in 1999, when he retired, he opened it up in 2000 to Great Southern Outdoors to the general public. But in that time window of 1995 till about 2003, everything on the block plantation of 6,000 acres was transitioned from cattle land to hunting land. We created more diverse properties with thickets and pines and oaks, and we just created a bunch of more structure. So everything that you see now that's planted in pine timber was once a cattle pasture.
And that was planted for deer hunting mostly.
It was planted for the deer, but it was also planted for one day for cutting.
For timber.
For timber cuts. Absolutely.
Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com.
So when you talk about Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper here, there was a lot of that sort of situation around here historically, wasn't there?
Absolutely. You know, when you walk in the door, you automatically see 20, 30 Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper signs. Coca-Cola was hosting their employees and their clients here from 1978 to 1999. But then when he transitioned the company in 2000, we hosted to the general public. But my father's vision in 2000, when he opened to the general public as Great Southern Outdoors, it was not in direction to corporate. It was not in direction to, let's get a bunch of guys from a business to come down here for the weekend, party, hang out, have a good time. His vision was more for the family, more for the husband and the wife and the two children. When he walked in the door, he wanted to see young kids here. And that made him more happier than anything. Two buddies coming in from out of state, you know, traveling all across the world. You know, I heard it for so many years that my dad, when he was running this company, it made him feel so good that people come from Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, California, Europe, Germany, South America, and they come to this small little piece of property in the state of Alabama, Bullitt County, to come out and enjoy God's creation. And you know, it blows my mind now seeing his vision and me taking his vision to another level, even though he's passed away. Fortunately, it was January 15th of this year, but taking his vision another step further and creating that core memory that somebody can hang on to for forever, and especially the young children that is coming up in our industry, that's going to determine where our industry sits in the next 20 years. That's what means something, in my opinion. You know, that's what we want to have here. We want to have families here. We want this be a place to vacation with the family and to enjoy the creation that God has given us every day, and you know, to see young children in the outdoors taking it a step further.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your father, by the way. I'm sure he's watching.
Oh, man, he is. He's probably sitting the prettiest deer stand you can be in right now.
Yeah. But I'm sure he's proud that you're continuing his vision and then trying to expand on that and keeping that going. So with that in mind, then, you're encouraging people to bring their kids out here.
Absolutely.
All right.
We actually do a Christmas hunt every year that my dad started with Remington back in 2004, where Remington was bringing in 5-6 kids for a 3-night 4-day event, and we were getting them in the stands. The guides would be sitting in the stands with the kids, and their parents would be with them as well. And that lasted for about 2 or 3 years, and my dad decided to take it over completely. And now what we're doing is the kids are coming in right before Christmas on their Christmas break from school, and their mother or their father is coming in and hunting with them, but we're actually giving them a rifle, their very first rifle, before they go hunting, and we're getting them out on the range, getting them shooting, but they're taking a brand new gun that they've never owned before, and it could be their first gun that they've ever owned, going out there with their mother or their father and sitting in some stands for a couple of days and enjoying just being in the outdoors.
That's great. I mean, that's how you get them started on a lifetime of enjoying things like this.
Yep. And we do some couples hunt where we do a 3-night 4-day deer package, and then you come back in on the house on a free 2-night 3-day hog hunt like you guys are on right now. Yep.
Yeah, we're here. We're hunting hogs, and this time of year, it's maybe a shoulder type season, something like that. But having the opportunity to do some hog hunts is kind of nice for this time of year, isn't it?
It is. It's nice. I feel like the weather's just right. I feel like the heat. We're not getting any rain. We just had a ton of rain come in. I mean, we had over 6 inches in less than a week to come in before you guys got here, which stirred up a lot of the movement cycles. The hogs are in different areas, and they're just scattered throughout the whole property. And last night y'all had a chance on some hogs that came in. I think he heard the gun click, and that's why he froze up and you shot him through the ear. But right now, clover just seeded out. And we are in the process, as you can see some of the fields in the back, we've got sun hemp in the ground, we've got Egyptian wheat in the ground, we got beans in the ground, we got peas in the ground. And this is the time of the year where we got to make sure that those fields don't get touched from the hogs. And I know that some of you guys are either off the big food plots that we've got planted for our springtime, and some of you are either on watering stations. But it's so diverse right now with the way the weather has been. Usually everybody is like on top of water zones, hunting ponds, swamps, wallering holes. And I don't know if most guys know what a wallering hole is, but that's a place where a hog has naturally dug out the ground and created its own pool of water to come in and cool off. And I
do the same thing.
Hey, I do it too. Yeah, absolutely. When you get hot in the summertime like this here in Alabama, you want to just get in a wallering hole for sure.
Yeah. So pigs, like the hogs, is that population expanding?
It's expanding tremendously.
He can't control them.
No, and the state has tried to come up with getting more people involved with like the nighttime permits. Saying let's get out there, let's get some hogs on the ground with thermals and stuff like that. Trapping has increased a lot as far as pig traps. You can now do it Bluetooth over your phone and see the hogs come in and drop a trap door on them, from the couch, or going down the highway. You're out of state, you can trap hogs out of state. It's crazy. But something's got to change with not just the state of Alabama, but the other states surrounding Alabama. The hogs are absolutely demolishing everything. They're one of the worst predators for turkey eggs. For the turkey hunters out there that are trying to grow their population and get their herds established. A hog will come in and they'll destroy a nest overnight. I mean, a couple chunks, it's gone. But a hog can breed 2 to 3 times a year, have 8 to 12, even sometimes 16 piglets inside of them, and it's a never-ending thing. It's a never-ending thing. And so I say, if you got hogs on your property, get out there and try to eradicate what you got. You're not going to get rid of all of them, but try to do something about it.
It's such it's an interesting thing for a sportsman that cares about conservation and cares about ethics and fair chase, but when it comes to hogs, it's almost like the snow goose deal. It's like all bets are off. You know, it's controlling a population that's out of control. And you're right, when it comes to turkey populations, they're suffering in a lot of places, and not just because of the hogs down here, but you talked about trapping. Nobody's trapping anymore, so raccoons are out there, you know, raiding nests all over the place. So if we want to see a change in the decline in some of these other quail, turkey, other bird
you want to see a
populations,
change in your wildlife, get out there and control your property, work your land, create a better habitat for the wildlife that you have on your land. Venture out, talk to your neighbors. A lot of guys don't like talking to the neighbors because they don't want their neighbors knowing what they're doing. Get out there and talk to your neighbors. That's what a neighborly thing will be. Figure out their management practices. Get out there and trap, shoot the hogs, kill the bobcats, kill the coyotes, kill the coons, kill the possums. Create forage for your deer, create forage for your quail, create forage and habitat for your turkeys. If you plan it, they will come.
It's all about the habitat.
It's all about the habitat.
And predator management, of course, too. So when we talk about people coming down here to spend some time here, you get people from all over the world?
All over.
Yeah?
All over.
You've had some big names here?
We do. We have, absolutely. I just got done hosting Tyler Farr, CMT, country music singer. He and I had a great 3-day event chasing turkeys together. Hank Parker's a good friend of mine that comes down a couple times of the season.
I saw his picture on the wall.
Dale Jr., you know, this is Dale Jr.'s home. This is his home site for Alabama. You know, he's been here over 30, 40 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Huh. Dang. And so, but then, you know, obviously you can have a guy like that or people like that, but then anybody else can
Anybody.
come. Right.
Anybody. We want everybody to enjoy the outdoors, and we ask anybody who wants to take a step in the outdoors to come see us.
So how do they do that?
Go to our website, www.greatsouthern.outdoors.com, or they can give us a phone call at 334-738-5066. They can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and just contact us.
What can they expect here?
They can expect a good time. They can expect private rooms. They can expect a good place to lay their head down. They can expect a beautiful lodge that they can come to and spend a quality time with their family for 3 days. And they can expect some really good food, and they can expect a really good time with a good guide who knows what they're doing.
Oh, it's a neat lodge. The food's been delicious, way more than we needed.
When it comes to the hog hunting, you know, Alabama has a no-close season, right? And there's a lot of states, especially up north where you guys are at, that don't have opportunity to go harvest hogs.
Yeah.
You know, when their season is done for deer, you've got turkeys coming in right after that. But what do you have after turkeys?
Fishing for us.
Fishing, right?
Yeah.
But you can't go out behind your back door and let's go pull the trigger on, you know, for a little while. Let's go hunting for a little while. You don't have that opportunity. So I say this gives you an opportunity to come down to the deep south. You know, not maybe if it's Alabama, maybe if it's Mississippi or Georgia, wherever you wanted to go, it gives you an opportunity to go get a couple rounds out during the summertime and get in the woods a little bit.
Well, it's funny, you know, this has been a fishing and a hunting trip, and I think when Dan and I do these trips, he looks forward to the fishing a little more, and I look forward to the hunting a little bit more, which works out well for us. But I mean, I enjoy them both, of course. But
yeah, he's wearing a hummingbird hat. So.
Well, it's because my other hat was soaked with sweat. It's so hot down here.
Watch this guy, right?
Boys from Minnesota can't handle this heat.
But let's talk about the hogs, though. I mean, how many hogs did you see?
Well, it was I think it was two bigger ones. So you figured 2 big boars, and then I think it was 6 piglets or 6 small ones with it.
There was probably a sow with those piglets, but I know after looking at the video that boar hog was at least 250 pounds, and you can see the cutters from 100 yards away.
Would have been a good one, Dan.
It would have been a good one.
Watch the video coming up on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. And we're not done yet. We're going back out tonight. Right. I mean, that's the best time to be out there. You got to try to stick her out.
It is.
So we'll see. I might have to sleep in the rental car for a little bit again, but we'll see what we can do. So Hunter Pritchett, Great Southern Outdoors. I really appreciate the hospitality here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And let's go see if we can shoot us a pig tonight.
If you want to catch a big walleye, go where the big walleyes are. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world, with a variety of resorts and lodging facilities offering full-service fishing. Lake of the Woods is also home to sturgeon, sauger, perch, trophy pike, muskie, smallmouth bass, burbot, and more. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods today. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. SJR.com.
All right, now we're going to head up to the Northwest Angle to check in with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism to get a fishing report. Joe, how's it going?
Hey, Bret.
You were out on the water today, and we pulled you in to do this interview. Sorry about that.
We were close to a resort, so up in the Northwest Angle where we're at, there's about 15 different resorts, and we're just doing some island hopping, trying some different spots, and we're only you're only about 10 minutes away from any resort up here, and we're fishing the U.S. side of the lake this time around. We weren't going into Ontario, so we weren't far. Nice little boat ride in, and here we sit. In fact, I might have to go in and get hydrated a little bit since we're here.
Yeah, I mean, I would, obviously. But it looks like a beautiful day up there. And, it's such a neat place where you're fishing islands and structure. And it's just a little different experience than down at the south end. And fishing is, I'm assuming you guys are catching fish and putting fish in the boat up there.
Yeah, there's fish up here to be had, no doubt. We're kind of just goofing around, experimenting, having some fun. My sister-in-law, so I'm up here for meetings, and my brother and my sister-in-law and my sister came up to do they work that I get one day with those guys, and she boated about a 35-inch pike already today, and we got some saugers, we got some walleyes, and got a couple other pike going. So at the angle, it's a mixed bag, and you never know what you're going to catch. I mean, she got a 35-inch pike. I mean, for many, that's going to be a fish of a lifetime.
And it's kind of nice. I mean, our signal isn't the best with you up there, Joe, but it is kind of nice to be as remote as you are, but you've still got cell service, and then all those places have Wi-Fi up there.
Yeah, and they do have Wi-Fi nowadays. People want to stay connected and that sort of thing. Some people will bring their laptops up, and some people say, when I go on vacation, I don't want to be connected at all. And other people say, you know what? If I can get a few emails off my plate, whether it's in the morning or at night before I go to bed, it just helps me enjoy my vacation better. Everybody's different.
Now, did you drive across up there, Joe, or did you take a boat across the lake?
We drove across, and we went across over, and we went across, and you go across at Warroad or in Roseau, and then you drive, as you know, Brad, about 40 miles through Canada, and we stopped at that little grocery store I turned you onto in Sprague, picked up a loaf of Canadian rye bread, picked up some coffee crisp candy bars. I think my brother picked up some old, which is kind of appropriate for our last name, right? And we picked up some goodies there, and then we came up and had a fish fry last night, and it's just been nice. It is beautiful weather up here. I mean, right now I'm looking at islands and pine trees. In fact, I'll turn this phone around, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see what I'm looking at, but I'll tell you what, it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Wow.
It looks very nice up there. Actually, I'm not going to say it's not an enjoyable day to be up at the angle, but that looks like one of those days where it's enjoyable on the entire lake because not a lot of wind up there. When the wind picks up, she can get a little rolly down there in the big portion of the lake, but that looks nice.
I have to tell you, it's a beautiful day anywhere today, and I got to tell you, we were boating in. I think it was the day before yesterday. We just went out, and we got here. We went out evening fishing a little bit, and we were boating in near our resort. My brother said, "Is that a black dog swimming?" Not a lot of black dogs up at the Lake of the Woods, so it's either a black wolf or a bear, and it was a bear. So we get to see a black bear swimming, and it's just one of the many things when you're at the angle. Certainly, the eagles, the ravens, just a different kind of diver ducks. Loons are everywhere. I mean, it's just a neat spot, and fishing opportunities everywhere. I'm looking out at those great big bay right now with tons of fish on one boat. I mean, it's just awesome.
So are you guys using live bait? Are you trolling? And then, if somebody were to go up there, maybe they bring their own boat. Are they? Would you tell them to head for points on islands to start, or what's a good starting point for people fishing the angle?
Yeah, well, it's always changing, right? Because it's that time of the year. But, we're actually finding some fish deeper. So the majority of fish that we found are actually in 24, 28 feet water, surprisingly. And I think those fish will go a little bit shallower as we start getting some bug hatches when the water warms up a little bit. But, we're catching our fish a little bit deeper. That big pike, I think we caught it about 18 feet of water. So it's a little bit better on the trip so far. We're not done yet, though. I got some ideas. I want to go to the milk room. I got a few spots that fish and memories a little bit, but I want to go hit a few spots with these guys. And part of it, honestly, is we got a couple of anglers with that aren't real astute anglers. So I got to be careful of bringing them to too rocky spots because they seem to get snagged up a little bit. And so I'm going to try to keep it, in an area where there's probably a little bit more mud, more of a transition. Otherwise, I'll pull crankbaits over the top of some rocks maybe and make it so we don't get snagged up. But there's fish to be had, I'll tell you that. It's gorgeous up here. I mean, when you come up here, it just feels different, Brett. You've been up here and you know what it's like. It looks different, it feels different, it smells different, and it's just a really special place up here at the Northwest Angle. People that come up for the first time normally go over to the northernmost point buoy and, get their picture taken for kind of a souvenir. And, a lot of times they'll end up going to Key West, Florida and getting their picture taken with the southernmost buoy. And we had for meeting last night, we had, a Canada Border Services Agency, U.S. Customs, Border Protection, DNR enforcement, along with some resorts and guides. And
that's all I had to say about that.
Everything else is classified.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lake of the Woods.
Apparently. Well, we'll see if he reconnects and joins us back up. We're talking with Joe Henry. Kind of sound like he was playing Asteroids for a minute there, and I know you probably won't get that reference, Dan.
Oh, come on.
Maybe, come on. Maybe some of the older people listening or watching will get that reference. But, I know I said this last time we had Joe on and talked about the Angle Dam, but it would be fun to get back up there.
Yeah, we say that every time. There's too many things to do, too many jobs to do. You know what we got to do? We got to quit working.
Okay. That sounds great.
Quit.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I love it. Well, we are going to try to get up to Lake of the Woods, I know, for a couple of days here yet this month. And we got 2 provinces to hit.
We're going to make a big old Canadian swing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So maybe, I don't know. It's like he can never spend enough days at Lake of the Woods.
Do you think we could boat from Lake of the Woods to our next family trip in Ontario?
Just try to. I mean, there's a lot of water up there. You can maybe cruise across a portion of the province. I know Lake of the Woods connects to a lot of things up there. Maybe is Joe back?
We're working on it.
Okay, maybe
we're getting the dial-up internet going again.
Yeah, there he is. Now he's inside. He's being watched over his shoulder there.
Do you have a beer?
By the supervisor. Can you hear us, Joe?
I can hear you. You see my supervisor behind me, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll make it through this segment here, Joe. It's not the best connection, but it's doable. Let's talk about the south end just a little bit. What are you hearing about fishing reports down there or the Rainy River?
Yeah, down on the south end, depths 18 to 24 feet. Really, it's a jig bite. So jig and a frozen emerald shiner. And, there's different pods of fish across that whole south shore. So, pretty much typical end of May, beginning of June fishing, going up, anchoring up in an area where there's fish and just sit tight. And those fish are moving around, Brett. They're going to come find you. They're going to come find your shiners. And a lot of times fishing actually gets better at 20 minutes after you've been sitting there. It kind of creates a little bit of an ecosystem underneath your boat.
Are you finding the most success is with live bait, or do you think are you hearing about a lot of people out on in Big Traverse Bay? Are they catching on plastics there, or do you think would you tell somebody to bring shiners out there?
They don't use plastics. No, they don't use plastics very much. You hear about some plastics being used up in Ontario because if you go from U.S. waters into Ontario waters, you can't bring any bait, live, dead, frozen, whatever. So consequently, people will use plastics more so over in Ontario. As the season goes on in Ontario, and talking to some guides, they notice that the customers that do have bait, live bait, if they stop at a Canadian, there's a couple of spots in Canada that sell live bait, knowing about the new law. So they're just over the border, and you can stop at those resorts and pick up live bait and then go on with your fishing day in Ontario, live bait. But they tell me as season goes on, as fishing gets, a little bit tougher, fishing never gets too tough on that side of the lake. But when it gets a little bit more summery, water gets warmer, they'll put on some live bait and they can notice they get bit more versus plastics. And I would bet part of that is the presentation. And, you get a lot of people that don't very much. And putting on a frozen emerald shiner or a live fathead, I tell you, tough to beat.
Well, I know crawlers and crawler harnesses, of course, were really good for us last summer when we were up there a little bit later in the year. So I'm sure that's when we get up there, I'm sure we'll try to do a little bit of that too. Probably some live scoping, some pitching, and I'm sure we'll bring some emerald shiners out there with us too. But I'm excited to get up there here, Joe. We're hoping to get up there in a couple of weeks. So hopefully
we actually pulled spinners today, Bret.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm sorry there's a hesitation, but we actually we tried pulling some spinners today just to cover some water because some of the fish in one area were a little bit spread out, and we got a few walleyes doing that. And that's what we actually got that big pike on, is pulling a spinner in a crawler harness.
Oh, sure. Well, that's a pretty effective method. It's Lake of the Woods. You can probably target them a bunch of different ways. Catch them in the river, catch them in Big Traverse, and of course up at the angle. And Joe, the summer is starting to get into full swing here. I'm sure with that many resorts up there, there's still some places people can book some trips up there this summer.
Oh yeah, I mean it's prime time, and it's only going to get better, honestly, as the water warms up. And the other thing that's really nice is that when things start heating up, you can actually pull spinners and cover water and put your lure in front of a lot more walleyes. And the charter boats they fill the wood every single day with all those big schools of walleyes, and they keep good tabs on them. As you know, it's plenty of opportunities to go fish on Lake of the Woods if somebody wants to come up.
Well, what should they do if they want to book a trip?
You know what? If you want to check out more information with all the resorts, etc., check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoods.mn.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.